right, good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us at our Adoption Choice's second annual Touched by Adoption, our first virtual event. We're so excited to celebrate National Adoption Awareness Month with everyone. Every November, we like to recognize all the professionals, all the adoptive parents, foster parents, anyone who helps to provide permanency to children in foster care. And here at Adoption Choice, we not only celebrate foster care placements, but we also celebrate all adoptive families during that month. And tonight we're going to do that as well. And as a way to celebrate this year, we chose to celebrate with 13 days of hosted story times and life book webinars, a family support group, a family mixer with trivia, all kinds of fun stuff went on these last 13 days. And in addition, we sent daily emails to you with lots of fun trivia, lots of employee provided recipes. Some of our favorite ones were in those emails, and lots of projects and resources for everyone to help them understand some of the things that go into the adoption field. And one of the other things that's still active is our silent auction. So don't forget to get over to our site yet tonight. We're going to post that link so you can get your final bids in. There's lots of good items over there, including a signed Jordy Nelson jersey, a getaway at the Aloft in Green Bay, some massages here in the Madison area, lots of stuff. So no matter where you are in the state, there's something there for you. So make sure you get your final bids in. We will be closing that at 10 o'clock tonight, and we don't want you to lose out on getting your favorite item there. So this year has definitely been challenging for most of us. We've had to make some adjustments in how we go to work and where we go to work, how we shop, how we travel, and most importantly, how we see our family and friends. And here at Adoption Choice, we had to make some changes also in how we operate, both in the office and remotely, in order to keep our staff safe and our clients healthy. But despite all of that, we've continued to fulfill our mission of creating families through adoption. And one of the things that we've been doing for 30 years is assisting families on their adoption journey. But we've also counseled countless women through their journey and helped them, support them while they made that choice of placing a child for adoption. Our agency is a small nonprofit agency, but we have offices in 3 locations throughout the state so that we can help families and birth parents no matter where they are in Wisconsin. Even in those really northern remote regions of Wisconsin, we can make it up there and help those families and those birth parents in their journey of adoption. All of our staff are passionate and committed to helping families pursue their adoption, no matter what route that is. And we'll help them figure out what route they want for their adoptive journey. Today, we counsel not only expectant parents on their options and provide support, and as well as help those adoptive families, but we also foster connections between birth and adoptive families, because that's our mission, creating loving families through adoption. We educate the community, participate in community events. Not as many this year, but we'll get back to that in 2020 and get out there in the community and keep spreading the word about adoption. We facilitate adoptions of foster care placements. We provide adoptive education for parents. Throughout all of this, and especially in these trying times, our agency remains committed to supporting our families through the process and going that extra mile to make sure that experience is a rewarding one for our families. Because every one of these families becomes part of our larger Adoption Choice family. And tonight we have 2 families joining us. They're going to share their experiences of adoption with you. Our first family is Jesse and Elizabeth, and they worked with our agency, worked through Adoption Choice a couple of years ago for their son. Elizabeth is also an adoptee, and so I'm going to welcome them to share their story about adoption. So please welcome Jesse and Elizabeth.
Hi. Good evening, everybody. Jesse and Elizabeth. just a little bit about ourselves. We've been together 13 years, married for 9. Really from the beginning, once we got married, we kind of knew that we were going to have issues having a child naturally. Unfortunately, I had cancer earlier in life that was going to cause some issues, and we found out later on that Elizabeth had a couple of issues as well. So, we definitely gave it the old college try for a couple of years to have a child naturally, but unfortunately that just wasn't going to happen. So started looking at our options to, get some help, and it was, IVF or, do we go down the path of adoption? And, we first started with IVF, with Elizabeth being adopted. She can talk a little bit more about why we made that decision.
Well, honestly, initially, when we were trying to figure out the best way to expand our family, I did say to Jesse, and thank goodness he was very supportive. I actually said, if it's adoption, I don't think I want to be a parent. I think we'll be okay, just the two of us. And looking back, I had a great adoption, loving family, great birth family. There should have been zero reason to think that way, but I think I had to grieve the process of not carrying a child naturally. And by the end of our journey, adoption was exactly what we wanted. And of course we wanted a child. So again, give yourself a little grace, because I think you got to get through those processes in your mind first.
So went through the first run of IVF. Unfortunately, we're not successful. We started looking into adoption. We went to had some initial introductory meetings with 2 other agencies, not Adoption Choice, and actually they went so poorly. We decided that it was in our best interest to try a second round of IVF, which also was not successful. So basically, after narrowing down our options, we started looking for other adoption agencies in the area, and that's where we came upon Adoption Choice, and that's really where the fun began. That's for sure.
And we actually looked at embryo adoption, but in the end, we would have had to go to Tennessee for implantation, and in the end, we might not have had a child. Where we knew through adoption, in the end, we would be parents. Mm-hmm. So we just were ready to get the ball rolling. It had been 5 years already, so that's why we decided, and we could have used Adoption Choice for the embryo adoption, which is good. So
sure.
Yeah, so we went through the getting the process started. We had our online profile, and at the time our adoption counselor, it wasn't Lindsay, we had Lindsay in the end, it was prior to her, said to put it on your social media, because you never know who knows somebody that may be having to place a child or wanting to place a child for adoption. So it got shared so many times that a mother who was pregnant in Tennessee, actually, we popped up, she might have been Googling adoption, who knows, and reached out to us and said, you know what, I think so many people said so many nice things about you. I think we want to place our child with you. And so this was about 7 months of time. The unfortunate thing for us now, looking back, was it was then considered a private adoption. So Adoption Choice got us so far, but then it was up to us to kind of get the lawyers, and they were out of the picture. Fast forward 7 months. It's 2 weeks prior to the due date, and birth mother ghosted us. We didn't hear anything more. In the end, we realized she changed her mind, and that's okay. But it was very hard at the time, obviously. We had to grieve that. So we reached back out to Adoption Choice, and we said we weren't going to do it without them, because we both truly feel that if she would have changed, when she changed her mind, if she had an adoption counselor, she would have told them. She didn't feel comfortable telling us. So from then on, it didn't matter if anybody reached out to us or not. We were going to be using the agency, because then the birth mother had somebody on her side, not just the 2 of us. And so then it took us about a month to get back in the game and get online and have our profile. And it probably took about 4 months before a birth mother wanted to meet us. They saw our book, and it was us and another couple. We met him at a coffee shop with Lindsay, and they basically were deciding between us and the other couple, and she felt a stronger connection with the other couple, and we got the call that she had chosen the other couple. which we want an open adoption or want an open adoption. We have an open adoption, and we never would have said no at all to that baby. But we didn't feel the connection as well as we do with our birth mother now. And so that was a no on that end. About 4 months later, we got another call. There's a birth mother wants to meet you. And this ends up being our son's birth mother. So I met with her and her sister in a coffee shop, and she was doing a month. Because we had 7 months last time, we were ready for kind of quick turnaround, only because if she changed her mind, it wasn't 7 months of waiting, So for us, we were ready because we had a shower with the other baby. It was a little boy. So it's our Finster. Look at that face. We'd have him here today, but he's a 2, and he'd be scratching at the monitor. So anyway, I met with the birth mother. I was leaving on a work business trip, and then we were going to Florida straight from there. The day we got back, the next day he was born. So we got back just in time. We would have been there for the birth, but he came so quickly. We got the call from Lindsay saying she went into labor, her water broke, and she said, he's here. So I called up Jesse. I said, he's here. He said, who's here? Because he was 2 weeks early. So we got to the hospital. What was wonderful is that we had Lindsay there, who also had the lawyer, who worked with the social worker. Birth mom was in one room. We had our own hospital room. So Finn kind of went between the 2 rooms. So that way she got time to spend and her family, as well as us. We got to stay overnight. It was wonderful. And then, like I said, Lindsay was there the whole time as a support to help us talk to whoever we needed to talk to, paperwork. And then, the next day he went home. And so the whole process, the first month, because it's not really official until that first month, to say that the birth mother and father sign off, and then it's 6 months. So that's a little bit scary time, but you love that baby. And then when we had our court date and he was ours, and the rest is history. So
we have nothing but good to say about Adoption Choice. They made the process extremely smooth. It was just here, check the box, sign this, send the checks here, send the checks there. But it was everything was very well done. And we would always recommend Adoption Choice. That's for sure.
Yeah. So that's our story.
Great. Thank you guys. It's great to hear that story and to hear about all the openness and also to know that sometimes you have a situation that doesn't work out before you have a successful one. So we appreciate you sharing that piece of your adoption journey as well. So now I'd like to introduce you to Crystal. She is also an adoptive parent. Her and her husband, Sean, adopted their daughter through ACI also a couple of years ago, so in 2018. And Crystal is an adoptee as well as 4 of her siblings. So she's well versed in the adoption world. So let's please welcome Crystal to share her story. Oh, Crystal, there you go.
There we go. Hi, I'm so excited to be here. You said my name is Crystal. My husband is Sean. He's not here today. And our daughter is Aaliyah. And we finalized, our daughter's 2.5 now, almost 2.5. So it's been a couple years. But the coolest part for me is that about 2 years ago, I was able to finalize my adoption at the very same courthouse that my adoption was finalized 30 years ago. So I think that was just like a really cool experience for me, that I was just literally in the same building finalizing my adoption with my mom, who finalized me at the same place. It's a really crazy story that my parents, I was the 4th out of 5 adopted. But besides those 5 kids, there was dozens of foster kids, dozens of almosts that we all know about. There was dozens of guardianships that they just took guardianship of kids for a while. There was kids just popping in because they needed dinner or they just needed a hug or someone to talk to. My parents were the mom and dad for literally whoever needed a mom or a dad for 5 minutes, forever. It didn't matter. They were part of the family. But to me, the other coolest part was not only were they family, but the birth family that was a part that joined us was part of the family too. So it just kind of kept creating this bigger like bubble effect of family. So I always say like I had 4 siblings and 2 parents, but really I had a family that went across the world because you were a part of our family. And it was always different. How involved they were was different, but nonetheless, we were all just one big family and we're there for each other when we needed it, which I just think is the coolest part about adoption. I always say it's a beautiful gift that grows families and just creates bigger and bigger families full of love. So we knew from the jump when we got married that we wanted to adopt because it had been such a huge impact on my life and I had seen so much of it growing up. We were also going to have biological children, but due to issues we both had, it just didn't work out. So we just were like, okay, well, we already knew what our next step was because we were already planning on doing that. So we just jumped into that. But I have to say the biggest, like, I am so grateful to my birth mom because not only did she choose adoption, but she chose my amazing parents. And I feel like I am who I am today because of them. And therefore I am because of her. So I can never say enough gratefulness about my birth mom. I can say out of all the birth adoption stories I've seen, and I've seen quite a few of them and quite a few fail and quite a few work, no 2 adoption stories are ever going to be the same. There's no 2 adoption stories that are alike. And I think that's so unique and so crazy and so cool about adoption that everyone has their own story. So our story started with Adoption Choice right away because I did my research. I love research more than most things. I looked up over 50 agencies. I printed up all the online forms that they have online and read through every single one and highlighted and contacted some and had meetings with some, and I did all of it. And I came to Adoption Choice, and I finally had picked after like a couple weeks of doing all my research, and I called my mom and I was like, I picked where I'm going to go. I'm going to go talk to Adoption Choice. And she goes, oh, I think I did one of mine there. I was like, well, you could have helped me with this before. But I was glad that we kind of ended up at the same place without even actually trying. So my mom had done her last almost that she had was through Adoption Choice, and it didn't end up working out for other reasons, but she had done hers there and she had a great experience there too. But it was quite a whirlwind. We got our home study done. We worked with Lindsay. We absolutely love her. And we got our home study done fairly quickly. And then we jumped into the pool, and we were not in the pool very long at all. I know we were really lucky that happened, but we were just not in it very long. And we got a call, and I remember it was a Friday morning, and we were both sleeping. We are not morning people. So we were both sleeping, and I get a call from Adoption Choice from Lindsay. And I was like, I think I forgot to return that form that she needed. I'll just call her back later and I'll tell her, I'll send it over later. So I wasn't going to answer. And then all of a sudden I was like, I don't think that they're open on Fridays. I think I better answer. So I quick answered, and she was like, is Sean there? And I was like, Sean, get up. I think this is important. So she goes on to tell us that a little girl was born the night before, and their mom just decided in the hospital that she was going to choose adoption, and that they chose us. And do we want to do this? And she told us all the details about it. And I was like, I'll talk to Sean and call you back. And I hung up the phone, and we looked at each other, and he's like, what are you doing? Call them back. So I quick called back, and I was like, I don't know what we needed to talk about. Obviously, we're going to do this. So she's like, okay, that's great. She's like, you can go down and meet him today. Okay, cool. So we hopped in the car. We called my brother. We were like, can you come watch our dogs quick? Because we got to go down and meet this birth family. And we drove down. On the way, we hit up Target, got a car seat, got everything we needed for that night, because we were taking home a baby probably. So we met them, and on our way there, I called my mom, and I was like, what do I do? Am I supposed to bring something for her? Am I supposed to I didn't know what to do. We were meeting her. She just had a baby. I didn't know what to do. And my mom gave me the best advice I ever got. She said, just let it be awkward. She's like, it's gonna be awkward. You're going into this big, huge thing with a stranger. You're strangers to each other. Like, it's gonna be awkward. And if you try to fight that, you're just gonna make it more awkward. She's like, just let it be awkward. And I did. I went in and I was just like, this is weird. It's okay to be weird. And from the moment we met, we knew that we had a match with them in every sense of it. And in all of the like education classes we took and all that kind of stuff, they kept saying like, wait for that match, wait for that match. Like, it has to be right for you too. Don't just say yes because you want a baby. And I always thought that was crazy because it's like, you just met these people. How are you supposed to have a connection with them? But when I met them, we understood it. We connected like instantaneously, and we have ever since. And we've just continued to grow our relationship, and it's been awesome. They have 3 other kids, so we've gotten to have all 4 girls, or 3 girls and a boy. So we've gotten them all together. They've gotten to hang out. It's been really great watching them kind of grow up together, even from apart. But we just had a really good connection with them right away. Tiana was there helping us at the hospital, and we took her home the next day. So within like 48 hours, we got the call and we brought home our little girl. So it was a crazy whirlwind weekend, but we wouldn't have wanted it any other way. It was absolutely amazing. And we have the best birth parents, and we have the most beautiful little girl in the world. We love her to death. But we were so happy that we went with Adoption Choice. They just absolutely have been there for us from the very beginning. And our daughter's 2.5 now, and we still, if we have like a question to ask about the birth parents or how should we handle this or that, we can still text them at any time, and they still help us. They don't just disappear once the adoption is finalized. They're there forever, which I think is really cool. And then this year we decided we wanted to try adopting a second. So we reached out to Lindsay, reached out to Adoption Choice, and we're like, let's do this again. And we were also really fortunate because we were able to get the sliding scale grant to help us with our startup costs of it, because we know adoption is very, very, very expensive. And so that was very helpful to us, because we really, really are passionate about this and passionate about adoption. And we want this to be a part of our story, but financially it is hard, and everyone, you understand how hard it is. So we were just really grateful that we were able to get that help too. So all in all, we just could not be happier that we chose Adoption Choice, for sure. We will never go anywhere else. You're stuck with us forever. But we plan to keep adopting as long as we can. So we're really excited. So I have kind of a cool picture to show you. This picture is when I first finalized my adoption. This is me with my mom and Aaliyah when we finalized in the courthouse that I was adopted in. So I just think that was really just the most surreal moment for me. But there's her a little more grown up. She's just the light of my life for sure. So yeah, that's pretty much our story. We are super passionate about adoption. We just think it's amazing for both sides of the spectrum, and we're excited to keep working with Adoption Choice.
Great, thanks, Crystal. Yeah, Crystal and Sean are on their second journey to adopting a child, and Crystal was nice enough to join us tonight. She's at work taking a little breather in a different room and helping to share her story even while she's taking a break at work. So we appreciate that. And as she mentioned, we have this sliding fee fund that we were able to implement a few years ago. So for the past 3 years, we've been helping families through this fund. Eligible families can help. This program can help defray the home study costs for these families. And In the last 2 years, we've been able to help nearly 200 families offset their home study costs. So that amounts to over half of the adoptive families we work with, which is spectacular that we've been able to help that many families. But in order to keep that program going, we need help. We need donations from people like you. So please act now. Don't be afraid to click on that donate button and help us to support this program so we can help families. I'd like to share with you a few more stories of some families who did benefit from that program. So here's a few more families that couldn't be here tonight, but did share their stories.
Hi, we're Nick and Alex Simons. We actually adopted our son James in May of 2019 through Adoption Choice. We came to Adoption Choice through referrals of friends, and it has just been a really positive experience. We're getting ready to try and do our second adoption, and with that help, with the help of the donations and gratitude from you guys, we were able to pursue that and feel more solid and comfortably in actually giving our son a sibling. It definitely took the pressure off, whereas we were kind of like on the fence financially of doing it, it made us more comfortable. Like, we didn't have that extra burden where we're like, okay, do we have to cut back here? How are we gonna come up with the money? We're like, okay, no, we can do this.
I'm Kyla and this is JT. And we are adopting a little baby, hopefully soon, from Adoption Choice. About 4 years ago, we adopted our little boy, Blake, who is now 4 years old and just started 4K. We had a wonderful experience with Adoption Choice, and that's why we're here again. And if it wasn't for the sliding fee, it probably wouldn't be possible. We've experienced just in contact with family and friends that they're not realizing the cost that can and does go into adoption, and how it comes about fast and furious sometimes, and there's times that you're not sure or are scared about where some of the funds are going to come, but in the end it comes out to be just right and you have a baby. So we used the sliding fee the second time around again, and thankfully it's less than money for us to have for when that time does come for the baby to come here and find that happiness again with the little baby here at home.
Connor and Carolyn Miners, we decided last October to start our adoption journey. Through a lot of prayer, God really put it on our hearts to pursue adoption and to begin our family this way. So this is really God putting it on us. This is how to start our family, I guess.
Yeah, we had wanted to adopt. We previously talked about adopting before we were even married, just like of our plans with that. My dad is actually adopted, and we know the birth family. At that time, it was a closed adoption for him because that was so long ago, but he actually needed to contact them for medical reasons, and it was a beautiful thing we did because his birth mom always wondered where he was, and then they got connected. The birth mom and his adopted mom actually got connected and started writing letters to each other, and just their relationship, I think, is very inspiring and definitely was a part of the reason why we chose to adopt. And yeah, and then God placed it on our hearts for how to start our family. So yeah, we're excited. And it's been a journey so far, but we're in the wait now after the home study, and we'll see what happens next.
Our home study was just approved in August, and so I had actually just got a job last October.
When we made this decision.
So money was pretty tight at the time that we made the decision.
Yeah.
So the discount off the home study was extremely helpful to us.
Yeah, we had...
Because that money that's due up front,
yeah.
Right now we have a good chunk saved, but initially when we were saving, were concerned of like the immediate expenses. So to have that discount was like, we were so thankful for it.
Yeah, especially since we had made that decision so quickly and seriously, but we had some money to work with, but we didn't have like enough to necessarily like continue through the journey process without that help of assistance. So that was, we maybe could have done it, but like it was really nice to have that like cushion of, okay, we have the support from our agency, we have the support from the resources that they have, and so that was really helpful for us, especially starting off the journey, because that helped us in order to like start saving for the next steps, because these next ones are the biggest chunks. and we've been really blessed to start saving for those next steps, but we wouldn't be where we are now if we hadn't started off that way. So that's very nice, especially since like adoption shouldn't be about the cost. Like it shouldn't be about, that shouldn't stop you. Like the money shouldn't stop you from adopting. So thankfully that hasn't stopped us.
Yep.
Oops. All right, getting ahead of myself there. All right, technology. All right, so as you heard from some of our families, adoption can be expensive. I think we all know that. And so our as you heard from families, cost shouldn't be the reason that someone can't grow their family through adoption. So your donations, the funds raised from this event tonight for Touched by Adoption, they go into that program and help us to support and to offset some of those costs for adoptive families. So please donate. Take a look at that, at our auction items, bid on those. Another important program that's supported through our Touched by Adoption event is our Birth Parent Scholarship Program. Over the last few years, we've been able to help a few birth parents continue their education, and you could help a birth parent get her GED, further her education, and improve her situation. So again, the funds raised from tonight help support both of those programs. Before I end tonight, I'd like to play one more video and give you one more message from an adoptive family that we have worked with.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of unknowns when it comes to adoption. We kind of started talking to families that we knew had adopted. Several of them had used Adoption Choice here in Green Bay and kind of pointed us in that direction as a starting point to just kind of go meet with them and see, you know, what the process was, what we would need to do, just kind of get some more information. So that was really helpful, and it was nice to have people to guide us in that direction.
I think one thing with the agencies, both Adoption Choice and Adoption Angels, is they take you just step by step. It's not like they drop a huge box on your desk saying, all right, here's the paperwork, here's, you know, it was a process to go through, and you just kind of learn as you go through, and there's not a deadline. I mean, the sooner you get done, the sooner you can get in a position to get, you know, place to have an adopt a child, but it could take you can take 2 years to do it, you can try to get it done in a couple months. It's kind of at your own pace and how fast you can get through it. So I think that was good that we weren't like pressured, like, all right, when we start this, you have 60 days to get it done or else you have to start all over again. It was kind of at your pace, and as you absorbed the information and took the online classes and got your hours done and the home visits and everything, there's a lot there, but it wasn't a rush. You know, it was at your pace. Whenever you needed it or wanted it to be done, you got it done. So I think that was a huge positive as well.
Yeah, there's a lot to do. It can be overwhelming, but they definitely walk with you every step of the way and are there to guide you in it all. So. Yeah, we would recommend Adoption Choice. I mean, we have recommended Adoption Choice to people, especially being in the spotlight a little bit and people knowing that we've adopted. We've had quite a few people come up to us and, you know, ask about it or be like, yeah, we were kind of thinking about it, you know, just asking for a little direction and how our experience was. So yeah, we gladly direct them to Adoption Choice, and we had a great experience. We, yeah, have no complaints. They were, yeah, very helpful with us the whole time, and yeah, made it very smooth and easy.
All right. So we are getting to the end of our program here tonight, and I thank you all for attending, joining us tonight and at any of our events over the last 13 days. It's been fun to connect with all of you, and it was great hearing the stories. Thank you to our families who shared their stories tonight, and most importantly, thank you to our sponsors who helped us to be able to put on this event and continue to do the programs that we continue to have here at Adoption Choice. So once again, do not forget to get on our website and bid on those final auction items. We've got a couple hours left here before we close that out, and don't forget to donate. Again, your donations will help us to keep these programs going, our Birth Parent Scholarship and our sliding fee fund for families. So please, again, thank you for joining us, and have a great night.